All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it today. So hope everybody had a great 3-day weekend. Take some time off from the markets. And now we are back into it here, and very interesting price action, I have to say. And there is stuff that I've noticed here. I always try to be observant here and pay attention to the little details. And I will say here, what do we have? Right, so we had a gap down, little sell, lower high, bottom at lunch hour. What happens every time we bottom in the lunch hour? They float it back up and we just rally and squeeze up, right? That changed today. Bears played defense for the first time since October. That is significant to me. We went up here, a little bull flag, and then a little outside move with volume. So someone came in here with volume. This is not just, some silly algo. Like, someone came in here with volume, a big money, came and knocked it down to stop that little squeeze up by the end of the day. Additionally, where are we sitting right now? Where did it get defended? Right here on the spiders, look at the SPX. We're sitting right below that trend line. I'm going to take you guys into the close today, and you can see the same thing here on the triple Qs. So there's your wedge trend line, and there's the Qs below that, below the 20 MA. Now, is this the end of the world that we're below the 20 MA? No, but guess what you have here on the Qs? What is this? High. There's a higher low. And what is that now? That is now a confirmed lower high on the triple Qs with a rising wedge break through the 20 MA. That is significant. Don't discount that. Does that mean the market's going to crash? It doesn't mean that, but it means that we have technical damage. We've been talking about exhaustion. What did I say to you guys last week? SPX, 79 days between this hit and this hit, 14 days between this hit and this hit, 13 days between this hit and this hit, and one whole week? Momentum's declining. So watch for these things. Look at the RSI. The number of hits on this rising wedge trend line are confirming that RSI declining. So market is out of gas here. Can Nvidia, I'm telling you, it's going to be all down to Jensen. So if Nvidia can save the market, or if there's anyone's going to save the market, it can be Nvidia. But from a technical standpoint, this is, we're seeing some damage here. Speaking of damage and Nvidia, we sliced that uptrend now. So this is, a parabolic move. And we finally done some damage. They might save it here by the end of the day. There's 5 minutes left. But we have damaged that, right? We've damaged that uptrend. And I think what you're seeing here is SMCI, right? Investors looking over the weekend. By the way, nice bounce there. I wasn't sure if it was going to go tag the 20 or pierce the 20 first. But, it was down about almost 40% from peak to trough in like 7.5 trading hours. So, it was going to get a big bounce here, but I do think this is possibly even a long-term top. And it should get a good retrace bounce here. But you're seeing investors look at this over the weekend and say, look, I don't want to be, I've had Nvidia this whole time. I don't want to be stuck in that if they miss earnings by even if they don't miss, if they don't beat expectations by a mile, right? Because you've priced in, you're now a $1.8 trillion company. You've priced in the best. So you have to beat by the best. And if it doesn't beat by just a little bit, it can cascade, and nobody wants to be the last one out the door. So I think you're seeing some of that. Now, why didn't it sell on Friday with SMCI? OpEx, right? They had this pin between 7 and 750. I talked about that. And I think that is the case. It's not a coincidence that we're all of a sudden starting to sell now that OpEx is over. And that extends out to the spiders as well, and the triple Qs and so on and so forth. But yeah, very interesting price action. Bears playing defense. So it looks like we're right on that wedge here. That's actually the spiders. Technically, I tend to go off the SPX, and it looks like that's going to get sliced here. Maybe we could draw this trend line a little bit different. It's certainly possible, but either way, that's still a big line in the sand, and we're seeing the damage there in the triple Qs. It doesn't look like much, right? It doesn't look like much, but when you see that, it's significant because it's the first time since October that we've had the daily lower highs and lower lows. We have never had that, right? Even right here, we went up, that was a higher high, and then we made a low, and then we took it out. Here, higher high, higher low. We came down here, higher low, right? We never have had that that setup, And I talked about this in July. I said, look, the Qs took out the lows before the spiders did. So pay attention to those things. And that's happening already because the spiders have that higher low. So again, little change in character, something to keep an eye on. Again, doesn't mean the market's going to crash 1,000 points, but you know, at some point we have to have a correction, right? We can't go parabolic forever. Nvidia cannot be worth more than the entire energy sector altogether and the entire Chinese stock market. These are real facts. You know, so in any case, be careful going in Nvidia earnings. Also, by the way, bond auction tomorrow at 1 p.m. It's 20-year. That will move the market. So watch that wedge trend line on both the SPY and the Qs tomorrow. If we confirm below the low at any point, meaning the low of today, I think we're in corrective mode. IWM backed off down 1.5. This is still, you know, on an intraday basis, not terrible. You know, we kind of just barely made a lower low versus the spiders, which took out the lows by quite a bit on an intraday basis, and the Qs. But again, still down 1.5, still struggling with this 205 handle. I do think it looks a lot better on the weekly. But I think maybe it needs to do a little more consolidation if it's going to continue to firm up here. Diamond here down 88 cents. This is still just kind of struggling with, again, near that 390 level. We'll see if it consolidates enough. It could make 390 minor, but again, it's pulling back a little bit. We won't make too much out of it. The Dow is down less than everything else. That's usually kind of a sign of less risk appetite. So SMH, that's going to break that rising wedge. So that is now damaged as of today with volume. Still above the 20 MA, but little technical damage. You also have lower highs, lower lows. Keep an eye on that. IGV got hit pretty hard today too. This has lower lows now for the first time since, I mean, I think you got to go back to like literally last year. Well, I guess technically this was a lower low here, pullback, but it had a tightening range. But this is flirting with kind of this island here. I don't like all these gaps. I've talked about that before. It hasn't gone much higher. It tried to break out. It tried to get a double top, never got there. Lower highs, lower lows on the daily. It's going to close above, you know, the 420 handle, which is right around that low there. But you do have that lower low. I don't like those islands. I don't like those gaps at the highs. It's holding up now. We do have Palo Alto after the bell. So we'll see how that plays out. Transports took a pretty good hit. So there's some damage here too now. So we had a pretty good reversal last week. Still on the weekly, it's still fine. Technically, it's still fine on the weekly, but I don't want to see it lose 15 too, especially on a weekly close. But definitely a good outside move there to the downside for the Dow transports. All right, let's just see. Market's about to close here in 5 seconds. So they're going to save that wedge on the spiders. So you can see it right there. So they saved that, but that doesn't change the fact that the bears stepped in and put in 2 lower highs. That's significant to me. And for what it's worth, you know, no matter how you draw this trend line, that's broken on the Qs. So keep an eye on that. All right. So interest rates. So 2-year back, all rates backed off across the board today, but still bullish inside bar on the 2-year, 5-year, 10s, and 30s. Nothing's changed on any of those. Tomorrow, the 20-year will move the market. XHB here, that was actually, that finished positive. It had a pretty good gap down early and then kind of just V-shaped all day. So finished up 2 cents. Impressive move there for XHB. The trend is still up on that, and that's still in good shape. It's just overbought. VNQ down 15 cents. Again, still holding this key level on a weekly close. If it breaks below that, I would avoid it. XLF backed off today, but it came off the lows, finished down 11 cents. I can still go up to 40 and maybe pierce that by a little bit. KRE, again, backed off today, but did come off the lows. Got hit it in the last 20 minutes or so, but the only thing I don't like is I don't like this weekly or that daily red bar that we're inside of. And I don't like that weekly close where we negated that green. So if this sets up sideways, in fact, you could make a case now. So we had an inside bar bullish, failed. Now you've got a red bar on your inside of that. If that bear flags, it could set up and move lower. So be careful with the regionals. BTFP is running out soon. Reverse repo is running out soon. I know those things are telegraphed, so it's not like it's going to surprise the market, but it is a reality. KBE, much less, down 29 cents. Won't make too much out of that. Broker dealers backed off, but they made new all-time highs on Friday. Crude here. So this was interesting price action. We actually day traded this earlier. Made a really good chunk on the first half, or first really like 3/4 of it. And then we moved out of the second, or the runner position for a gain as well. But almost got, this came down pretty hard. So we got in right around the lows earlier, and this came down pretty good into the COMEX close. We had a good bounce though. So they're fighting this crude here, but if this goes sideways, it just holds up here and bases under this pivot, I think it can break out. So I'd be a little cautious on the short side. There's also an inverse head and shoulder there. If that triggers, it's going to go a lot higher. I do still really like what I'm seeing in XLE, XOP, and OIH, especially if OIH gets through this trend line that's from the highs going back to September. This has a lot of upside, I think. So I still like energy. I think that their energy stocks are acting well right now. Even the gas stocks, I don't talk about them very much, but AR, they had earnings last week and they really took off. Chesapeake, LNG, EOG, EQT, look at that little abandoned baby set up there. EOG with a big, it's at the lower end of this big fat wedge. If that starts to push up, could break out there. So some of these gas stocks looking well, pretty good as well. I don't talk about them that often, but they are firming up. CCJ is below our level, but that's got to get, that can get saved by the end of the week potentially. URNM outside move down today, down 4%. So maybe a little bit of damage coming in here, but on the weekly, it's still fine. If you close below this green bar on the weekly, it's in corrective mode. Nat gas gap down on Sunday night. It came back though. If this had happened if this was Monday and not a holiday, I would be kind of bullish on it right now. But there wasn't a lot of volume in this, right? It's just nobody's trading nobody's trading on the holidays. I'm certainly not. And, the big boys are in Aspen, right? So they're not trading this. This price action, though, at face value is pretty good. Again, we're looking for a low here. I mean, look at this RSI. This is insanely, this is the most insane divergence ever. But specifically on the 4 hour, that's really interesting. It's very attractive. I just want to see something here, a little bit more of something. But it is very attractive down here. It's at literally the all-time lows for nat gas futures, which is insane to think about because the last time we were down here was during COVID. A dollar index, that pulled back pretty sharply earlier, but it did close back inside of this green. You can see pretty good dip buy, and it grinded back up to the highs of the cash session. So not terrible. It was definitely weak, though. Not really the greatest. It needs to recover here and firm up if it does. So we do this. We're going through 105, and your next level's, minor level at 105.50, but then 106 would be your next area there. I would not like it if we break below 103.50. That would be a little bit of a red flag, maybe even more of a red flag. Gold here held up well. Again, it came off the highs towards the end of the day. You can see there the GLD. When yields got a little bit of a pop towards the close. So gold came in off the highs. Silver also reversed pretty sharply on the Sunday night open. It was very strange. Normally you don't see this again. Like I said, not a lot of people trading, but I don't know if somebody just wanted to blow up the tape or what, but somebody maybe needed to sell it to cover a margin. I don't know, but there is a lot of volume in that dump on silver Sunday night. And, it came back in pretty good. Still got a lot of resistance at 23.50, 23.65, 23.70. We'll see. If it firms up here, it can, make a little, zigzag. If it starts to go back down, it's going to get vulnerable here because we've hit this trend line a few times now. But we'll reserve judgment on that till a little bit later. Platinum, little doji inside day. Palladium, little up move there on volume. And again, you guys know I like that. On the weekly, copper, a nice pop there, up 2%, up 2 cents. Again, we'll give that the upside bias to 390 here. But I don't have any, that's not with any conviction. All right, Bitcoin. So still hammering on the 52K handle. No problems here, right? It just needs to consolidate, right? You got 5 weeks of a bear flag there. It's probably going to take about that long to get through it. Again, where I would get concerned is we break back below 48. Then that would be, okay, we might be correcting. ETH actually had a nice day today as well. You can see this next level up there around 32. And some of the alts I've talked about recently, Cardano still acting well, like this weekly. I still like that weekly starting to curl back up. That never gave me a sell signal. And Matic, looking pretty good here. Up move, little inside doji so far. Again, it's only been like 2-3 days, but those alts are still looking good. And Bitcoin looks fine. There's no problems with it. Again, below 48, that's when I might get concerned. So again, markets here closing right at 49.75. That was a big gamma level intraday. So they saved this wedge. We'll just call it saved. But you do have damage on the Qs and on the semis, and that is indisputable. So could it be a bear trap? We have Nvidia. Maybe they want to dump it out, get some shorts in play, and then they can pop it back up, possibly. But this looks like distribution to me, and it looks like investors are finally saying, well, wait a second, maybe we should think about taking profits on a $1.8 trillion company that's added almost $1 trillion in market cap in the last 6 weeks. So there's a lot of risk here. If this goes down, back to 500, it's going to take the whole market with it. It's too big of a company at this point. Reminds me a lot of Tesla in 2021. Granted, I know. Before you start in the comments, Aaron, they have earnings on Tesla. I know what Nvidia is. Trust me. So, but anything can be overvalued, and there is competition coming, and those chips are going to be everywhere in a few years. Nvidia's got a great company. They have a lot of market share. Even if part of that gets eaten up, it's going to hurt their valuation. But again, it's neither here nor there until we get any sort of actual sell signal. This is distribution though, and we did do some technical damage today. And for the bears, you played defense for the first time since October. I think that's significant, and we shouldn't disregard that. Anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you guys all tomorrow.